Hello, guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode on the show. Control or be controlled. The podcast is designed to help you start thinking differently and take control of your life. And as always, I remain your host, Darlington. Today's guest is Jennifer. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Darlington.
All right, so Jennifer, your last name is Dechaine, right?
Yes, Dechaine.
Okay, so our guest for today is Jennifer Dechaine. Jennifer, I would like you to introduce yourself to my audience.
I would love to introduce myself. I am a real estate sales consultant from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I've been working in real estate over 20 years, and it is my life's mission and passion to support the sales professionals that work in the real estate space, and truthfully, sales professionals everywhere that resonate with my message of truly helping to work our way and skill up in our human skills to have more amazing, beautiful lives.
All right, so Jennifer, you describe burnout in real estate as a skill gap they call a character flaw. Can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So in real estate, when you start in real estate as a new home sales professional or as a real estate agent, the attrition rate is very, very high, which means most people within the first 3 years will wash out. Like I think it's almost over 80%. And a lot of times when people wash out, what do we say about them? Like, why did they leave? And we're like, you know what? They weren't cut out for real estate. They just didn't have what it took. They they weren't tough enough. And those are the things we say when people wash out of real estate. And all of those things are talking about someone's character, right? We're making judgments about them as human beings. And I don't believe that we've got this quite right. I think there's a lot of human skills that real estate requires, yet we don't teach it. Things like confidence, rejection, regulation, coachability. I think there's a bunch of them. And that's basically where the space that I work. So we tell people that they weren't tough enough when really we could have helped them skill up in some of these human skills. And I think that we're losing a lot of talent in the industry because of it.
Okay, Jennifer. So, after more than 20 years in real estate and sales leadership, what made you realize the industry was missing something important?
Well, I think that the industry brings in all these talented people, and then we tell them to figure it out, and we count on them to figure it out. And if they don't figure it out, they struggle. And I know I struggled as a new sales professional, and I was constantly believing like I'm missing something. There's something wrong with me. Like, why aren't I tougher? Why aren't I better at this? And so I was always trying to find ways to support myself. But yet I could never find resources. So I became, I was always an avid reader. And so I read a lot of professional development, a lot of leadership, a lot of strategy, and I love education. And so I have, committed my life. I'm a lifelong learner. And so I'm always learning new things. So I found that for myself. And I found when I led sales teams that we work on hard skills all the time in real estate sales, but in sales everywhere. You work on closing and you work on prospecting and you work on the tech stack. And one year I was leading a sales team, and instead of writing a sales goal or like a professional development goal, like we were going to get better at closing or something like that, we we worked on regulation, and this was self-regulation. And we worked on timing our regulation time. So, everyone in their work and in their lives, we have triggers and stresses, and something happens to us. And when something happens to you, it sticks with you. And the question is, how long does it stick with you before you feel like you can move on and problem solve it, or stop stressing out about it, or stop thinking about it? And, we wrote a professional development goal to be curious about how long it took us to get to the problem solving stage when a trigger would happen. And this is applicable to everyone in their lives, which is regulation is critically important. It's an amazing human skill that everybody can develop, because let's say something stressful happened to you today, your car broke down, or you got in a fight with a friend, and how long is it before you're ready to problem solve and move on, and you're not thinking about it all the time? And in sales, we constantly have things happening. We lose a sale, we have a difficult client, we have an angry client, we have a dispute with a coworker, we have a dispute with our boss, and there's always something happening. And if we stay in the triggers and stay thinking about all of the bad things all the time, who the heck has time to spend time prospecting and make more sales? And so when I worked with some sales professionals, the top sales professionals went from like a couple hours where they're still thinking about it, maybe 2 hours, and they're writing angry emails that they're not going to send, or they're calling their work bestie and complaining. And we went from that to about maybe less than 10 minutes, where within 10 minutes, they don't have to write angry emails anymore. They don't have to call their work besties and get everybody all freaking out and getting upset about things. They were just like, you know what? I breathed it out. I went for a walk. There's different things that you can do, different techniques you can do to deal with your physiological reaction to it. But after you do that, now you're ready to problem solve. Now you're ready to move on, and now you're ready to get back to work. And in a lot of ways, the faster you can get back and regulate yourself and get yourself back into the game, the more sales you can make, the more productive you are, the less time your body is sitting in a state of distress. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you, Darlington?
Yes, I think that resonated with me so much. So, how can leaders create environments where their teams grow instead of burnout?
Can you just repeat that question for me? You just cut out. Sorry.
How can leaders create environments where their teams grow instead of burnout?
Well, they can certainly look at the human skills, like these are skills, and they can work on them with their teams. And the second one is big time is psychological safety. So it's not safe to say you're not okay if it's not safe to say you're not okay, right? You have to build that trust, and you have to build that environment where people feel like it's okay to say that they're struggling or that they need some help. Without their leader thinking that they are weak and, being like, oh man, I got to fire them. It's more about being safe to say that you need some support. And I think creating that psychological safety and then helping them with human skills are important.
Okay, so your human foundations framework focuses on the person behind the professional. Why is it? Why is that shift important?
So the human skills, the human foundations are a program that I have built for sales professionals in real estate and adjacent industries like construction and other sales industries, where they can develop those human skills that are not taught. And why it's important is a lot of these lessons are learned the hard way, where it takes you years to accumulate the skill and to strengthen it through, learning it out in the field, because there's not really any school to go to for sales. So why it's important is it is definitely supporting people, and it helps people get better at their jobs faster, and it helps good talent stay in the game.
Okay, Jennifer, how do you see the future of housing affordability and supply challenges in Canada?
Oh, goodness. This is a great question. I think that, I mean, housing supply, I think, we've done a really great job of putting rooftops up in the last 3 years. But my concern is always that we're not necessarily building housing for the family situations that we have. We've put up a lot of 1 and 2 bedroom purpose built rental and called it, wins for our housing stock. But we haven't built the family homes, and we haven't built um, community-based housing really and supplied it in the requirements that it's required. So I think like we're doing a great job of creating shelter, but I don't know that it's the right shelter. So I think that we really need to look at, our population and the demographics. And I think we need to do some adjustments on the way forward. I think we have to look at the zoning and the single family zoning in a lot of the cities that has not changed, and that needs to change in order to open up the housing supply that can be offered. But I think we need to be a little bit more concise on what we're actually building.
Oh, right. So tell us why high performing people often struggle with confidence, resilience, and emotional regulation under pressure.
Um, well, that's a great question. Why do they struggle with it? I mean, when people come into sales, sales is very often a sink or swim type environment. There's a lot of sales professionals that work for performance-based pay, which is commission, and commission is and the idea of commission is providing that uncapped upside so that it creates tons of opportunities for high performers, but it also creates dysregulation with the lack of any sort of safety net and in a lot of times support. And so you're bringing in a human being and you are dysregulating them with regards to the infrastructure within the industry itself, and then you're asking them to perform. So it's kind of like, tying up somebody's legs and then asking them to run a marathon. And then being like, if you're really good, you can do it. And so a lot of times when you start people out being dysregulated, and then you apply quota pressure to it, you can have really smart, really motivated, really talented people that struggle with being able to regulate themselves if they're very passionate, that can take advice and feedback and become coachable. Again, if they're smart and talented, no one may have taught them how to be coachable, as well as rejection is a human thing where you experience it in sales very often. The closing ratio in our industry is maybe like 4 to 6%. So you need 94 to 96 people to say no to you. And, just being good at rejection is not anything really that anybody just wakes up and is really good at. So there's some missing gaps, on the skills and that are not built. And then we put them in a dysregulated environment. And I think that's why they struggle. And again, it depends on, what the leadership team looks like and what the support looks like at that brokerage or at that home builder. And very often, if you don't have those supports and it's kind of like just figure it out on your own, high performers can struggle because they're going to carry around a bunch of pressure and they're not quite sure how to figure it all out. And yeah.
All right. So Jennifer, what lessons from real estate and sales apply to people in other high pressure careers?
Well, that's a great question. I think so. So sales is a human thing, right? Which is, you know, to sell something is to really to serve, to provide a solution for people that, you think that's going to make a difference in their lives and you want them to do. And so in any industry, in any job, in anyone's life, you are constantly selling. You are selling, maybe you're not selling products, but you're selling ideas. You're selling yourself. And so any of those things happen in everyone's life, and pressure where there is consequences on the outcome. I think that is always a tricky situation. And so, because that's what pressure, I believe, is there's consequences on the outcome, and you have to deal with them. So in situations such as that, I think it just gets very, I think it's very tricky. But I think in terms of applications to any industry, it really is looking at being able to deal with pressure. Um, don't just blame yourself and think that you're not strong enough or that you aren't cut out for a pressure filled situation. I think that you need to look at it like these are not characteristics of you. These are human skills that you can learn. And so continue to build your confidence, continue to build your ability to take rejection, continue to build your ability to take feedback as coachability. And as you continue to build those things in pressure filled environments, you will find that you are thriving.
What advice would you give someone in a demanding career who feels overwhelmed but believes they should simply push harder?
Well, I think, you know, pushing harder it'll get you to a level, because hard work is critical to success. But the issue with hard work is it can't be the only lever that you have whenever you're struggling, whenever you're having a hard time, because hard work will only get you so far. After that, it truly is human skills and connecting to others and connecting to yourself and really reevaluating about what's really important to you and your priorities. So I would say absolutely hard work will get you to a certain point, but at one point in time, hard work will stop working for you and not get you any further. And you will have to evolve and pull different levers like working on yourself, working on your mindset, working on your connection to others, working on your connection to yourself, and prioritizing how you really want to move forward and what's really important to you. Because a lot of times, we set ourselves goals and we're like, we'll get there with hard work. And then you get there and you're like, oh, is this it? This didn't feel like I had hoped. And you wonder, well, did I set the right goal, or was it worth it? And you start to think like, what did you have to sacrifice to get there? Was it time with your family? Was it your health? Was it your well-being? So we make trade-offs to get to these places, and yeah. So that's my advice, Darlington, is hard work will only, and pushing harder will only get you so far. And after that, you're going to have other tools in the toolbox. So you might as well work on them and build them now before you even need them, because they're just going to help you on the way.
Right. So Jennifer, is there a question you wish I would have asked you that I have not asked you?
Well, you could have asked me, why is this so important to me? Why have I dedicated my life to this mission? And if you asked me that question, I would have said, a lot of times, Darlington, we build things for the younger versions of ourselves that don't have the wisdom to see the tools that they need or ask for the things and the support that they need. And so for me, I have been so fortunate to have a beautiful career in real estate, and I have been so lucky to lead probably hundreds of sales team members and influence them in their mindset and their career. And I I feel such love and empathy for them and my younger self. And I want them to be able to move ahead without thinking that this is a them problem. I want them to be able to flourish and have beautiful lives while working on their skills. And that's why it's really important to me.
Hey, thank you so much, Jessica. Jennifer, thank you so
Yes.
much for sharing with me and my audience your insights and your perspective. So, for those who would like to connect with you and learn more about what you do, how can they do that?
I would love to connect with them. They can go to my website. It's called Congruent Projects. So that's CONGRUENT projects.com. You can find me on Instagram at Jennifer Dechaine and drop me a DM or drop me a website inquiry, and I would be happy to connect with them if they're looking for any resources or, any support. I'm happy to help.
All right, thank you so much. This has been a very wonderful episode, Jennifer. So, I want to ask you, have I given you the platform to be able to discuss and share it with my audience what you want to share with them?
Yeah, that was awesome because I really think, the premise of your podcast is, how can you take back control of your life? And a lot of times we put personal ownership on organizational and structural issues. And it's like we can support it and we don't have to just take on personal responsibility and blame ourselves. We can look for tools and we can improve ourselves.
All right, thank you so much. And thanks to my audience as well. You guys are the
Yes, my
reason why
pleasure.
we are able to do this. It's been a pleasure having you, Jennifer. And have a wonderful day ahead.
Yes, you as well, Darlington.
I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye, guys. All right, Jennifer.